new segment of Midgain Chattery today. I recently read in an article about it was in China. This mother, she had locked her son in the car. She called for the fire department to come save her son, but when the fire department got there, they told her they needed to break the window in order to save her son because the door and everything was locked. The mother tells the fire department to not break down the window because her car was a BMW.
Oh, okay. But she couldn't get out.
No, she's on the outside. Her kid is locked inside the car.
Oh.
And she didn't want them breaking down her expensive window because she didn't want to go through the hassle of paying for it once they broke it down in order to save the kid's life. Because she wanted the locksmith or someone to come to open it as opposed to breaking down the window. And it took her kid.
Okay.
It took her kid blacking out in the car from the heat exhaustion before the firefighters decided, forget what she's saying, we're just going to break down the window. So is there such a thing as a material object being more important than a life? And then if you were in the fire department's shoe, would you have ignored the lady and just broken it down and then whatever?
Okay, well, the way the lady wanted to wait because she didn't think her son's life was in peril so much as the firefighters thought, or the situation seems to show. So maybe perhaps she thinks maybe a few more minutes and her son could endure the heat, endure the being inside the car. So I just didn't think her son would faint or anything would happen. And then you're not really weighing so much of the risk to a material matter, but rather maybe a few more seconds, few more minutes of her son suffering, which she probably doesn't.
That's more. It's more of a lack of knowledge and lack of. In that case, that argument is for the lack of knowledge and where they don't realize how bad the situation actually is. So that takes off a little bit of the responsibility on the mom, because obviously she didn't realize the consequences, but her actions would.
Or perhaps because it was in China, her son had been training in a Xiaolong temple and he's been trained to withstand these extreme temperatures.
Or the modern Xiaolong equivalent is the grand school in China.
So then if you were in the fire department shoe, would you have just ignored her and then taking account of the situation? If say what if she was, alright, so there's a side of she wasn't knowledgeable and then she didn't understand how much damage the heat was putting on the kid's body. So what if we do it on the other side of the story where she was knowledgeable, but the main reason was because she didn't want to break down the window.
Well, that doesn't matter. As a firefighter, and the obligation is to save people, then of course I would go ahead and save the kid by breaking down the window when I see the kid is failing. Whether she values her window that much, or or that she doesn't really know the situation. So when I see that the kid is unable to remain conscious, then I would knock down the window. Obviously, a firefighter would probably be trained in such matters and would recognize signs of failing health before someone else does.
No, if you look at it from a philosophical point of view, perhaps you could say that he had no bearing to do such a thing, because that life is more she has more obligation. She has more rights to that life than the firefighter does. It's her own choice whether or not to do that or not. What's more, so I also feel that his bearing on that is also an encroachment of her rights. I mean, granted, if you look at it from an emotional point of view, from an emotional perspective, of course you would feel that duty to override anything that or any of her choices in favor of saving the child's life. But if you look at it from a completely logical perspective, and what right does the firefighter actually have in doing that? No. I think so is only duty. It's more
morals.
No, rights versus morals. But Jason also brought up the fact that firefighters do have their job is to save people, regardless of what other people think, right?
Mm-hmm.
their first priority is to save a life. It doesn't matter what life it is.
There's also a universal human obligation, so it seems, in this culture.
Why can't she make the choice of valuing the window over her child?
In the culture, in this culture, like the firefighters will feel more obligated than anybody else because it's already part of their job standard to do so.
I think it's completely fine for her to have different priorities from other people. Obviously, I don't think in this case that she actually valued the window more than the child. That's not actually what her true sentiments. She probably wasn't thinking at the time, you know? When you walk around bogged down by pettiness and petty things every day, you know, you kind of eventually it starts getting harder and harder for you to get out of it, to where in a situation where you're presented with a deeper aspect of your life, of your priorities and what you truly think of as important, then you start not thinking about the child itself as that big of a thing anymore. Perhaps like when she's put in an emergency situation like that, she didn't quite realize it just because it's hard to get yourself out of that mentality. But if there wasn't a case, I'd say it's also fine for her to value the window over life. I don't think we should be held to those expectations. That might make you abnormal as a human being in today's society, unstable or dangerous, or even particularly dislikable. You might still be a likable person actually.